Most of the time I only play full games, but hey, the demo was out, so why not? Thus, this review will be far briefer than most of my normal reviews. It's 1622, the Edo period in Japan, and after Tokugawa Ieyasu was unified the country, it's time to appoint the third shogun of the Tokugawa shogunate. On one side you have your player character, Takechiyo, an artistic soul who can see guardian spirits, and on the other side, their younger brother, Kunimatsu, the family favorite who is good at nearly everything. And anyone who has seen anime knows how things will unfold.
I think we all know where this is going, so let's just skip to the end.
The twist is that after the obligatory burn the village moment, your character is sent back in time, to the Sengoku period. Again. Visually, things are more or less similar to the first game in terms of tone, at least in the starter area. This time Team Ninja went for an open world a la Zelda Breath of the Wild, and while I know that it's meant to be a land beset by corruption, everything is a tad too dark and I can't see sometimes, especially during crucibles. And in an open world game, you have to be able to see where the you're going. When you kill the big boss of the area, things do clear up, and I found a weird bug, but this is for later. On the design aspect, they are still the best specialties of Team Ninja. The yokai are as awesome as they are terrifying and threatening, and while you see lots of the old assets lifted from past games, you'll also see new several monsters to slay. The designs of the main characters and side characters are still balanced very well between being realistic and animesque, although so far they aren't as striking as Nioh 2. So bizarrely, it's still the same problems and perks of Team Ninja. Now, on the writing aspect, yeah, this is still a game by Team Ninja. By now, everyone and their mother knows that they specialize in looter-style, high-paced Soulsborne games, not in story. I have played only the demo, so the only thing I can ponder is time travel, really? Time travel plots are best when the protagonist contrasts with where he's going, or tight avoidance outcome plots, but only time will tell. There is a pleasant surprise about the main character though, which I won't spoil. On the soundtrack aspect, so far yeah, it's still nice, with a good classical music range that does amp up vicious fights and can pump up the action. Nothing radical, but nothing shabby either. I did enjoy the boss battle music, it felt as if it was a grand track from a Kurosawa movie. Now let's get into the meat of the menu right away. In the gameplay department, the two biggest changes were the split between the samurai and ninja styles and the replacement of the mission-based structure to a more open-world design. Having played all the games of this franchise, I know that Team Ninjas love to experiment with downright weird stuff, but I have to say that Nioh 3 changes are weird, so balanced between pros and cons that it feels as if they didn't progress it, they just went sideways. Basically, if Nioh 2 had a whole system of transformation mixed with counters, magic and such, this game split several gameplay aspects between two styles. You have the samurai style with the stance system and a more robust array of weapons, and you have the ninja style, without the stance system and focused on dodges and getting behind your enemy for more damage. Now you can switch between whole sets of weapons and armor on the fly, with weapons like the Kusarigama and the Tonfa only being used by the ninja style, while yaris, hammers and such are only used by the samurai. At first I didn't like this change much because it feels a tad forced and limiting, but after playing the game I sort of warmed up enough to be neutral. On one hand, it's basically trying to reinvent the wheel when the first Nioh proved that you could do both, being overall simpler. On the other hand, now you can switch between a lighter hit and run style and the tankier setup on the fly. So I think it will depend from person to person if it's bad or good. It will be a big point of contention though. In the end, I feel that Team Ninja could have done a lot better and not try to fix what wasn't broken, nor reinvent the wheel, but it's a vast improvement over 2. Other changes include the magic system and how skills work, but that's for a more thorough review. I predict that, as usual, most people just throw all the complex mechanics to a corner and just stick to one style with one build. As for the open world, I don't know if Team Ninja tried to do it before, but they are surprisingly competent at making vast maps with stuff to do. Ancient Japan is split between areas with several points of interest. The demo map is small enough to balance a lot of stuff to do and a lot of places to explore, but everything is choked with enemies, so it's less a leisure stroll akin to Zelda Breath of the Wild and more of a careful exploration akin to Elden Ring. One nifty aspect is that as you discover points of interest, the level of exploration of the map rises, and if you raise it enough, it will show undiscovered points of interest anyway, which incentivizes exploration. Personally, I liked it. The mission-based structure of past games was straightforward, but considering how the games were grindy, the repetition of doing the same mission over and over and over was mind-numbing. Here you have both the missions and some nice ways of land to explore. The overall difficulty was toned down, thank God. Some will complain that the game is too easy, but honestly I prefer when my character won't be killed with 2 hits by cannon fodder, and I like when I do have time to analyze an enemy pattern. Another interesting point is that this time you do have a hub. I don't know how it will be used, but just having a centered hub where you can come and go is insanely better. Hopefully it will be used by the story itself and character development. You can also buy some special consumables with yen instead of rice, which is one less grinding aspect. There was some cleaning of the user interface, and now you can respect character points at any time after you clear the first boss, so you can experiment with weapons of your own style at your own leisure. I will pretend that somehow my review of Nioh 2 was seen by Team Ninja and they listened to my complaints. It will make me feel a tad special. But sadly, this is still Team Ninja, and with a lot of good came a lot of bad too. There is still the usual bloat of armor and weapons, but that comes with the looter genre. What doesn't come with the genre are the new additions of the corrosion mechanic, the lack of polishing the mechanics, the atrocious performance issues, and of course the problem with the bosses. There are several sore spots that only got worse within this game, for example, the need to grind for healing items. It was bad in past games, but tolerable. And sure, you have the base number that gets refilled each time you pray, but when you consider that this is an open world game and the bosses have such a bad combat design and an awful hitbox, you have to grind for healing pills with an insanely low drop rate. Because going into a fight with anything less than the maximum amount of healing items is suicide. No really, I've been through the entire Dark Souls series, Sekiro, Elden Ring and all Nioh games, and I can say that Team Ninja didn't learn the lesson about boss fights. Because here, the 2 bosses of the demo are a frustrating bundle of misery due to tiny arenas against large foes, again, a really wonky hitbox, no seriously, the hitbox here is so god awful I've been killed while standing behind the spearman boss during a charge. Long constant fast attacks that give tons of damage with insanely small windows for counterattack, which screws with heavy weapons users again, and in the case of the last boss of the tutorial, awful visual design. While the design itself is admittedly awesome, a giant monster old man with 2 snake heads, the fact that they keep constantly moving, swirling and twisting make it hard to properly gauge when it's attacking. Add that to the insanely small arena full of obstacles and the fact that both snakes' heads have a large amount of particle effects, which make the already bad performance issues worse, and it was a frustrating guaranteed fight that felt more like a chore instead of a challenge. Yes, the performance issues are really bad. I had unresponsive controls, serious stuttering and lagging and sudden drops in frame rate. Bizarrely, I couldn't get a good video of the boss fights because for some reason, merely opening the OBS studio to records seriously messed the frame rate. And I mean just record the game, not stream it. Also for some bizarre reason, what you can see in the video is far clearer than what I had in the game. I honestly don't know why. I cranked the brightness but it was still dark during my game, yet the recorder video was clearer. Lastly, the corrosion mechanics. Now, if you are wielding special weapons or if you go into contaminated areas, whenever you take damage, you suffer from corrosion, which slashes your main health permanently till you kill something or use special healing items. I don't recall a single game where this sort of mechanic was welcome, and while it can add some tension during the exploration of Dark Realms, add that to the bosses that already hit like a truck and will be just adding more to the pile of frustration. In the end, this is still Team Ninja acting as Team Ninja, being the Temu version of From Software or their Yuga Gotoku studio. You have several new mechanics, some poorly thought out, A new direction, some polish, but still a lot to be ironed out. If you already like a Nioh with warts and all, you probably like this. If you didn't, there isn't much to sway your mind from it. The biggest points of contention will be the new mechanic with the ninja and samurai styles, and on a minor scale, the open world. And since it's Teen Ninja, the price of the game will be somewhat what the f***? What the f*** is this? Are you f***ing kidding me? What the f***ing hell? This is more expensive than some AAA games. Why are they charging this for this buggy mess? Yeah, no. If you're interested in this game, don't buy it at launch. Wait some months till it's properly patched up and on a sale. It's definitely not worth this price. See you again next time. Remember to like and subscribe.